I need to get away. I buy my online ticket today. My flight's booked down to Chelly J. I reach the airport stop. Door slide open, terminal free. Check my bags away correctly. I reach airline security, Mr. Metal Detector stop.
Hi there, Browne here with you. Welcome back to my time tunnel and welcome to my YouTube channel. It has been a while. Hi, welcome back, and it's good to be with you. Sure, first time in the year, but I've been around. Actually, I've been doing some traveling. I was in the Gambia, and I'll be doing something about the Gambia again, which is very, very interesting. But let's look at something different. I had a look in at the Guyanese Speaks platform some time ago, and one of the items that was brought to light was poetry. It was literary reading, and I was very much surprised when this Guyanese individual, this young individual, vibrant, dynamic. His name is Mr. G. Mr. G, his mother is Guyanese and his father is Ugandan, and of course he's Guyanese parentage. And he's a great poet. He presented some work that I think in each and every one of us, we have a gift. We are very talented. We can be writers, we can do anything, but we just haven't allowed ourselves to explore those avenues. Mr. G did, and believe you me, his work and his poetry was fantastic. Let's have a look in.
His name is Mr. G, and he has been a spoken word poet for 2 decades. Perhaps best known as the poet laureate on Russell Brand's radio show. He's toured the world many times with that comedian. His work has been featured in The Times, The Guardian, and The New Statesman. He's presented several TV radio series on BBC Radio 4 and was a featured guest on BBC Two programme Poetry Between the Lines. Mr. G has delivered a TEDx talk focusing on the extensive rehabilitation work that he does in prisons, and he was host for the 2018 Commonwealth Heads of Government Forum.
Anyway, yeah, so I'm a poet, and I'm just going to do a few poems for you based around a number of subjects, and yeah, we'll just treat this as a journey that takes us wherever it takes us. And so this poem is called A Ticket to Fly. I need to get away. I buy my online ticket today. My flight's booked down to Chelly J. I reach the airport stop. Door slide open, terminal free. Check my bags away correctly. I reach airline security, Mr. Metal Detector stop. No watch, no belt, no mobile phone. Remove my shoes in the required zone. No screwdriver, no bottle cologne, no hats, no coins, no stuff. But my facial features fit the profile. Dark skin, dark hair, and dark brown eyes. And with the wrong surname, it's no surprise when the kettle meets the pot, it stops. Where you going to? Who's your next of kin? Are these bags packed by you? Can I look within? He's stroking the hairs on his chinny chin chin. I throw my apple juice in the binny bin bin. I realize he's got a job to do. He can't let all the terrorists step right through. And I don't want to see 9/11 Part 2. I got nothing to hide, I got nothing to prove. So before I flex any attitude, I comply with the rules, then stop. But I don't want to know Guantanamo Bay, or how my fingerprint info go astray, how my profile fits someone else's face, my identity lost in the database. All I really wanted was a holiday. All I really wanted was a holiday. All I really wanted was a holiday. It gives me a smile, my paranoia fades, so I stop. I need to get away. I buy my online ticket today. When you travel abroad, just expect delays because we all want to feel safe when we board the plane. Full stop. Thank you. And so this poem, I guess, deals with what I call the uncomfortable relationship which we have with ourselves. So this poem is called Beauty and the Beast. The spotlight forms shadows. The widest of choices can seem narrow. There's too many strings and this archer's bow that can lead to directionless arrows. The turn of a tarot card scars the path that fate was dealt. That even the most beautiful amongst us all can still cast the mask to hate ourselves. We denigrate ourselves. We never embrace ourselves. We cook the food, serve the plate to reshape ourselves. So we wish to change ourselves. Secretly escape ourselves. We're almost ashamed of the way that God chose to make ourselves. So I want my nose a little thin. My figure, a little fitter. My lips not too large or too small, my height about 3 inches bigger. Go figure. It's the darker skin that wants to be light. And lighter skin prays all day to catch more sunlight. Or sprays on more tone to the bone that makes everything alright. Big wants to be slim. And slim wants cursed to bring out the fuller shape that would have made all the difference within. I'm fighting a ball patch. It's a losing battle, and that's a fact. So either I invest in an ocean of useless potions or I try combing over at the back. You do the math. Usually I wear a hat. We can spend our whole lives worrying over what we cosmetically lack. Blacks wanting to be whites, whites wanting to be black. The grass will always seem greener. Other people's lives will always seem easier. Magazines will always airbrush pictures, providing us with the essential milk of amnesia. I came to bury Caesar, but I found that he buried me. I was killed off by an implicit Molotov of skin-deep ideals. You see, they don't ever want you to be free, in control of your own destiny. There's too many products of stuff that rely on the unhappiness you feel. So you're never gorgeous enough, desirable enough, admirable enough, content enough, proud of who you are in a world that's ever marred by all this resentful stuff. It's a fundamental bluff. But it's hard to rise above this beast whose burden that we all bear. I hope that one day we could look deep within ourselves and see that the beauty was always there. Thank you. My mother is Guyanese, we've got Indo-Guyanese, and my father is from Uganda in East Africa. And so sort of like both sides of the Atlantic, both know all the words of the national anthem. Yes, that's an interesting reality, right? And it's like, I find like the talk about what's it, ancestor worship, and the talk about like the relevance of the drum. I used to be very, very fascinated by the way in which the drum resonates with people, right? The way in which power, like you would go in a nightclub and you know, I used to be a DJ and so sometimes you should play a certain tune and pow! I'd watch the audience just light up, right? And someone once told me that the reason why the drum is so powerful is that the first sound you ever hear is the sound of your mother's heartbeat when you're in the womb. And so when your mother's stressed out, her heartbeat is agitated, you feel that. When your mother's relaxed, her heartbeat slows down, and you feel that. And that's why there's certain rhythm patterns that they bring out something in you. You don't even know why they bring those things out in you. And some other rhythm patterns, they bring out, you know, a calming nature. So music is very much, it's the first language you never know to speak. Before you can even utter any word, it would be in English, Portuguese, French, Swahili, Urdu, Gujarati, it doesn't really matter, right? The first sound that means anything to you will be that drum beat. So I wrote this poem, which is dedicated to the drum, and it's called The Sound of the African Drum. The endless rhythm that persists into your soul and just uplifts it from the cold and dark abyss. It makes you whole and is a gift from God whose role is to assist us, for he knows we can't exist without the sound of the African drum. It booms like a beating heart, heard in the womb completes the start, always consumes till we depart into our tombs deep in the dark, where it exhumes us with its sharp ancestral tunes heard in the park. That's the sound of the African drum. It was once banned with reprimand on plantation fields. Did they understand that in our hands it gave elation and zeal? But you can't plan to just withstand the interracial appeal. The drum pan rules all man in all occasions they yield. Back to our ancient fathers, strong and so patiently real. It's almost as if God is coming and his invitation is sealed by the sound of the African drum. Can't you hear the gospel, blues, jazz, R&B, soul, rap, rock and roll, started with we who brought you salsa, reggae, ragga, merengue, calypso and disco all the way to drum and bass and grime UK. We got the funk, the soca, bossa nova crossed over, but doo-wop and bebop gave us the plus to hip-hop. We've got circus and high life, samba and rumba or number with wonder, but let no man put asunder. The truth is, their root is, if you listen with astuteness, the beat they all loop is the sound of the African drum. Boom! Thank you. Well, one time, one of the kids goes to me, oh, Mr. G, right, you know, like, he was asking us about animals, like, you know, what's your favorite animal, right? And like I had to pause and think. I was like, you know what? Now if I'm really honest with you, my favorite animal is like a little tiny red-breasted robin, right? Reason being is I can understand why a lion is proud and people like a lion. I can understand why a horse is proud and people like a horse. But like a little robin, right? They're so small, but they're so proud. I've never seen a shy robin, right? Think about it. They hustle their way onto your Christmas card, you don't even know why. You know? So I wrote this poem, and it was about a conversation I heard between two robins. And so I'd like to share it with you, and it's called To the Birds. Two red-breast robins awoke early one morning, father and son sharing a moment of calling. In the magical hours between dewdrops and dawn, when all is calm with the world, said son to father, Dad, why do we sing and puff up our chests and limber up our wings when it seems to me to be a bird is but a lonely thing when man is in charge of this world? He builds a nest so high that it can touch the sky. He wears feathers in all shapes and all colors and sizes. His wings are invisible, but yet he can fly so high, so why should we sing in this world? Said father to son, yeah, man indeed is strong. He has the pride of a peacock and the grace of a swan. He even goes a little cuckoo when the weather goes wrong, for he believes that he's in charge of this world. He puts a feather in his cap as he tries to rule the roost, but whenever he gets scared, he feels the bump of a goose. Because we used to be dinosaurs, and that's the truth. And my son, that's what we'll always sing in this world. Thank you. Okay, being a poet, I'm sort of contractually obligated to do a poem about love. I don't know why, people think poets know about love, right? But we spend our whole lives trying to figure love out, you know? I think I'll figure love out though, right? Yeah, I'm slick like that, right? But no, I think love is a look, right? I think love is just a look. Like, you might see someone for the first time and there's a look. You might be with someone for a few months, a few weeks, few years, and then suddenly a look gets exchanged. A look that's different to any other look you've ever seen before. Now, sometimes you're giving that look, but you ain't getting it back. Other times, you're getting that look, and you ain't planning on giving it back. But either way, that look is the thing that all artists are trying to capture. So I wrote this poem about, I guess, the failure of an artist trying to capture what that thing is. So this poem is called What Words Can Fail to Say. If I could capture love's most secret potion, of Cupid's arrows dipped in devotion, I would compose the sweetest poem and I would give it all to you. If I could enlist words oh so profound, an exquisite mixture of precious sound to paint the picture of a foolish clown, please know that I would give it all to you. But love's road has been so well traveled, and surely her mystery's already been unraveled by ancient voices and eternal ballads, so how then can the balance of my words ring true? For are we not all but lonely strangers, under love's curse of hope and danger, owning the keys to empty chambers while praying to unlock the solitude? I am darkness, first recognizing light. I'm the thirst of blindness, realizing sight. Yet I yearn for a kindness so long denied, and no words can describe my desire for life. No phrase can attempt to compose completeness. No flowers or cards can amend my weakness. You can paint a million hearts, but what I seek is far beyond the mask of such grafted sweetness. So I wish you all well on your future journeys, walking softly, yet treading firmly. If my words fail to connect, let it not concern me, because shadows can only exist under the guidance of light. Yet if only I could capture love's most secret potion, of Cupid's arrows dipped in devotion, I would compose the sweetest poem. And please know, I will give it all to you. Thank you. I was commissioned to write a poem for the Senate House, marking the 100th birthday, I suppose, or 100th anniversary of the birth of Chetty J. And it was, so I was allowed access to the archives of the time period when just before and just during and just after that Guyanese independence. And fascinating stuff, right? Because I guess what it did is it put a lot of things into perspective. I'm born here, I'm born in London, and so as I said, my parents are from other countries, and their reality and my reality are completely different. And there were many things that I guess that they tried to protect you from, that they were existing in their countries of their birth, because they just did not want some of that madness placed on the children, you know what I mean? But then you start sort of like, you start asking questions, and sometimes you get answers. Sometimes some are truthful, some are lies. And it was very, very interesting. It was real, proper emotional stuff. I mean, I can go on for this forever, but there were like certain things that were I found fascinating. Was like the fact that like the independent struggle of many countries, African and Caribbean countries, the same soldiers that would have fought in World War II for freedom would have been sent out to those countries to suppress freedom. You know what I mean, right? The same soldiers, right? And you just think, wow, that's something. So this poem, I guess, it just deals with, it's inspired by the life of Chelly Jagan, and it's inspired by, I suppose, the way in which my ignorance relates to his life, right? So this ain't written from a position of understanding, it's from a position of searching. So this poem is called A Tale of Three Rivers. They call it the land of many waters, but here's a tale of three rivers, and how they intertwine to reflect my life's many mirrors. The river Ganges baptized my indentured heart, as my ebony soul floated down the Nile. But the river Thames partitioned them apart, which is why we put the West on trial. Water can't get enemies, but I'm yet to see Jahaji buy. So I speak the language found in the color of my teardrops. You see, I'm half African and half Indian. My two rivers overflow with the violence that saturates my traditions, while the third is soaked into my mind via Britain's educational system, where they teach you to spread hatred, but with a smile. I grew up in London in the 1970s, hearing Guyanese whispers around family tables. My uncles had inebriated blisters from trips on echo graveyards, candlelit shots of El Dorado, lost cities flicker with suggestion. Buy the first rule of plantation is to cure independence. Then they rob you at election. We're on a road of good intention. But you don't want to ever be around when the cutlass slips. You don't want to ever hear the truth from a pundit's lips. Just pass me another drink by and don't watch my sips. And this Winston Churchill cigar, superb. Thus mumbled my drunk Indian uncle one Notting Hill night, over plates of Chinese food and spilled Madeira wine. I laughed as he struggled to form a sentence from pre-Columbian times, for nobody at that table could speak their mother's tongue. He saw my childish giggles, drenched in English privilege. For what did this little black boy know about the range or the village? The rape or the pillage, the blood that sugarcane delivers. Son Chapman, Wismar, these are names I can't envisage. So with an emotional quickness, he sobered up. Oh, see, there's a lot for me to talk about Guyanese freedom. You just think England give independence easy? One flag down, another flag raised? But you don't know the punishment and the price we paid. Africa and India went to war. And like a jaguar's roar, my peaceful waters were struck by this stumbling stone. It rippled inside my system with self-destructive overload. My Indian arteries attacked their veins. My African heart strangled its lungs as the river Nile and the river Ganges fought to escape the lowest rung. Meanwhile, by the river Thames, we fed breadcrumbs to the swamps. And it was on this day in 1980, I learned about the cost of revolution. Turn the clock back to British-owned Guyana between 1953 and 1964. Chelly Jagan won 3 consecutive elections. Washington and Westminster worked day and night as he thundered for independence. If you can find unity through your history, then history becomes a weapon. But everybody knows that a weapon can be used both ways. You see, Africans died moving 100 million tons of dirt to create Guyana from the sea. And Indian backs were put to work, plantation charm is sugar sweet. And Amerindian land rights were dispersed by whites, Chinese, and Patagui. So for someone to take away all this hurt, they got to bring together Alawi. But there's no point in shouting at the lock unless your voice provides the key. And Chelly found the door handle was blocked by those who claimed democracy. But there were some things that he couldn't foresee. Did he really think the River Thames wants the River Nile and the River Ganges to agree and join the River Amazon and flow into the sea? Did he not think that CIA and MI5 will split these rivers into streams? And by the rivers of Babylon we count the votes, we best count the number of the beast. Now watch your screams proportioned to trickles, leaving you hungry in the streets. Mommy, I can't take the cold water to the store when there's nothing left to eat. Come see your trickles reduced to droplets, as everybody wants to leave, where the hatred of your neighbor is the only religion you believe. Finally let those droplets dictate your tears, as election fever disappears. I've seen all race of Guyanese drown their sorrows, 2 shots of rum for every beer. They call it the land of many waters, but I can only speak of 3 rivers, and how they intertwine to reflect my life's many mirrors. Perhaps the legacy of independence is yet to be defined, until the Essequibo, Berbice and Demerara flow through our hearts and speak their minds. And this poem is basically, I'm a big fan of Martin Luther King. And I'm a big fan of the fact that his last speech, he talks about going to the mountaintop and looking over and seeing the promised land. But this poem is not written from the perspective of Martin Luther King being at the top of the mountain. This poem is from the perspective of Martin Luther King being at the bottom of the mountain. So this poem is really about the mountains that we all have to climb and the obstacles that we all have to overcome. This poem is called Go Tell It on the Mountain. I caught the falling feather of an angel's wing, and I wanted it tattooed upon my spine. Now you can call me a devil or a demonic thing. Who cares for names if I can fly? Who cares for names if I can rise and claim what's rightfully mine? Beyond the foot of this crooked mountain which casts a haze upon my life. You know it's impacting how I'm living. You know it's exact and unforgiving. It traps my soul in a box and it holds a lock that might live it. I just want to float away so high. I just want to break the color lines. I want to break the minimum wage and slavery, break the cannons, guns and knives, that I can escape the prison time. Escape the trips to courtroom trials, that I can rewind the school exclusions when daddy leaves and mommy cries. Am I wrong to want to escape this plight? These angel wings give me insight. They'll never take my mental state to leave these shackles far behind, but fallen wings leave scattered feathers. And I tried my best to just collect them, but they were spread oh so far apart, to unite them all would take forever. So I gathered just what I could, looked at the stars from where I stood, that I could leave behind this mountain, behind this city, behind this hood, behind this street, behind this road, behind this path that leaves me cold. I'll fly so high I'll never find, I'll never go back to the days of old. But as I flapped and flapped and flapped, there are no wings upon my back. There is no magical elevation, and my puppet strings are still attached. I raise my eyes up to the sky. I look way beyond this mountain high. I look to the heavens and just ask why this world won't get off my back and let me fly. But I'm stuck at the bottom of my regrets, with that single feather that I now possess. One day we'll reach that mountaintop, but we gotta do it step by step. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Mr. G.
And with that, I'd like to say thank you for looking, and thank you for being a part of me and being with me here. Until we meet again, feel free to like, subscribe, and be a part of the channel as always. Carl Browne saying, it's nice being with you.